Today has been really interesting and eventful. So if you followed my post today, especially on LinkedIn and on Facebook, you would have heard me focus on the political happenings, not quite around the world, but particularly in Nigeria. Nigeria is a very unique case. Very, very unique case. And in fact, Nigeria is a very, very sad story. This is one of the most gifted countries in the world in every index, particularly the peoples of Nigeria. The ethnicities in Nigeria are amazing. They are wonderful. Over 350 ethnicities. It's actually supposed to be a strength, but unfortunately, it became a curse that the country cannot recover from until we all collectively realize that we have been manipulated right from the beginning. We've been manipulated, conditioned to hate each other, conditioned to hate each other's guts. And while we are doing it, we are looking away and they're stealing our resources dry. So Nigeria is such a sad case, And someone shared a video of a Ghanaian recently talking about the massive migration of Nigerians to Ghana. He said people from other countries, Niger, I think Benin, mentioned a couple of countries, and then Nigeria are massively migrating into Ghana. Then he particularly zoomed in on Nigerians just because of the sheer amount, the massive numbers of Nigerians running away from Nigeria to go to Ghana. And this man said that the Nigerians at the places that they have gotten into in Ghana are so remote that even many Ghanaians don't know those places, but Nigerians are there. He said something that should embarrass the government of Nigeria to their bone. He said, from his observation, that what United States of America, is to Ghanaians, because Ghanaians all want to go to America for better opportunities. He said that Ghana now is to Nigerians what US is to Ghanaians. Then he did a little bit of research talking to the Nigerians to find out what were the core reasons that they are all migrating from Nigeria to Ghana in their droves. Young people who have lost hope in Nigeria, migrating in their droves to Ghana. He came up with 3 reasons. The very first reason he mentioned was electricity. As simple as that sounds, electricity. No electricity in Nigeria. In 21st century. And you find a country of 230 million people producing just about 5,000 or 6,000 megawatts of electricity. That's like typically what one university, say in America, or someone will use. That's what the whole country is producing. So I'm talking to you now, there's no power here. We haven't had power for days. There's no power. That's why I'm standing under the solar. I installed several solars, so you can see this one. There's one behind me. There are 2 at the back of the house. And then there's one here, then there's another one here. No electricity. And I have a big generator, diesel generator, that sometimes just to talk to you, to power up my laptop and my phone, I have to turn on diesel generator. So where there's no electricity, the businesses can't function. And then I do know that many manufacturers, the cost of, when they look at their cost structure, about 80% of their cost structure goes to power. That's why manufacturing in Nigeria is not very competitive when you think about manufacturing in Asia, manufacturing in China, or making things in Dubai. That was their number one. The second reason was security. The kidnapping, all kinds of things going on, insecurities. Herders from a particular tribe in Nigeria have they traverse the whole country, especially the south and the middle belt parts of the country. Killing farmers, pillaging their farms, feeding cassava and pineapples to their cows. And the federal government of Nigeria and the law enforcement agents in Nigeria say nothing. That's the second reason, insecurity. Because, when you think about it, you don't blame them because of what user is it, you succeed, you make all the money, but if you don't feel secure, people can come in, walk into your village at any time and then end your life. And then the third reason he said that most Nigerians are escaping to Ghana was, I'm trying to remember what he said. If you saw that article, you can type it in the comment section, just remind me. The third reason he said is economic. Now he said that there are some jobs and things that Ghanaian citizens will not do. So he mentioned, for instance, selling phone accessories in a wheelbarrow, pushing it around and selling all these accessories. He said Ghanaian citizens will not do that. It's sort of demeaning, but that's what Nigerians are doing there. And because their currency is stronger than our own, he said, though they do that, they push the barrows and they sell along the street, sell all these phone accessories, that the money they make in cities, by the time they calculate how much it is back home in Nigeria, that is quite good, for them. So, in the light of this, what does this mean to you? Okay, what does it mean to us, first of all, as a country? And then what does that mean to you as an individual? Because these are the kind of questions you should be raising. I'm almost 60. 60 years of my life being labeled Nigerian. And then for almost 60 years, I've been hearing, Nigeria shall be great. Nigeria shall be great. So every young generation comes up with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of patriotism. And then by the time you're 40, you start seeing that this is actually a cursed place, a land that swallows its inhabitants, and there's no hope. Then the ones coming behind you are picking up that enthusiasm from where only for them, to get to 40, get to 60 and discover that this country isn't worth dying for. So how do you solve this problem? Many times complex problems have very, very simple solutions. Complex problems have very simple solutions. So in this case, what is that simple solution? Look at the foundation. Look at the foundation. I have a couple of mangoes. That's one of the things I enjoy in the village. If you can see my mangoes. Do you mind if I eat one while we are talking? So I can get some energy, and then I'll also use my glasses so I can see your comments. Kimbuchi says, it's not that there is no individual private business initiative, but it's been suppressed by many factors initiated by our leaders in their selfish intentions. My answer to that is, look, stop looking at this. So they're not even leaders. People confuse leadership. We don't have leaders. We've never had leaders. What you have is politicians. It's not the same thing. So people keep confusing politics or positions, we don't have leaders. There's no leadership. There's no government presence. There's no leadership presence, for instance, in Nigeria. There's none. And so that's why people will come to a community and invade the farms, kidnap people, molest their women, and then nothing happens. Nothing happens. It doesn't happen where there's leadership. So, the sooner you stop complaining, the sooner you stop waiting for leaders to bail you out, the better for you. I can tell you as an older man, you better start early. You better start early. Secure your own freedom first, then you're able to help other people. I'm able to help people quietly, off camera. You don't see it on social media, because I've been able. Because the best thing you can do for the poor people is not to be poor yourself. Because if you're poor, how are you going to raise other people out of poverty? And so many things that the government can do, the government isn't doing for the people. We can do it. I've given people generator because they don't have light. I've given people food. I've given people water. That's what the basic things that the government, should be doing. It doesn't happen. But I can't do it if I don't, first of all, if I'm not financially fit. And that's why I run the Financial Fitness Challenge. Because you can complain from today till, as they say, thy kingdom come. Nothing is going to change. Okay? Chinweze says, I'm not bothered anymore about Nigeria and its economy. I'm focused on my personal economy. I'm building wealth for my children so they can choose to live wherever they want. I like that attitude. I encourage it. And then when you talk like this, people will be telling you, oh, you're selfish. You're selfish. Go and die for Nigeria then. You are not selfish. And all those people saying you're selfish. They're not even doing anything. That's actually my point. Because complaining doesn't get anything done. So first of all, you brought children, you brought a family, you brought children into this world. You can't leave them for the politicians. You can't leave them to be complaining about what is up. First of all, feed them, raise them. Then you can now face Nigeria's problem. So you first of all got to save yourself. Put on your what do they put? Your face mask first. Your oxygen mask. That's what they call it in the plane. And then you can now help other people, because if you're suffocating and choking, you'll be useless. And unfortunately, a lot of good people, gifted people, amazing people in this country have died carrying their potential in the grave because they've been waiting for the government. Imagine if I had waited for the Nigerian government for 60 years. I was born 2nd December 1965. Imagine if I have waited. For almost 60 years, and maybe that's also because of the part of the country I come from. Nothing. No single interface, no single government, touch of government. In my life, not one. There's not one I can say. I have paid taxes. I paid taxes in the millions. But there's been nothing. The government doesn't provide security for me. I've been robbed a couple of times. Armed robbers came into our house in Ibadan, carried everything, wedding gifts, carried everything that we had at the time. And I had a little baby in the house at the time. They came, carried it. Police, government did nothing. They also robbed me as I was driving along Opiweka in Onitsha with my family. Robbed me, broad daylight. Government did nothing. I went through school, primary, secondary, university, postgraduate college. No single 1 cent from the Nigerian government. Not single one. But then the strange thing about the country, I was in federal government college, 1979 to 84. And then in those days, all the people coming in from the north, Bauchi, Sokoto, everybody, they were total, everything was paid for. Their school fees were paid for. They were even giving pocket money. And they used to fly them. Nigerian Airways of those, they used to fly them to school. I think they will fly them to Owerri. And then buses, air-conditioned buses, we pick them. But I never got a kobo. My father and my mother had to sweat. And you call it the same country. How can you have justice? How can you have justice in a place like that? Not one bursary, not one scholarship, nothing. Can you imagine if I was waiting for Nigerian government? You wouldn't be listening to me. Many of you send me private messages. Oh, I'm a blessing to you. I'm a blessing to this generation and another. Would I be if I was waiting for the Nigerian government? And that's the point I'm making to you people. Save yourself. There's no government. This is the jungle. Save yourself. And they don't care what they are now. As soon as you elect them, the very next thing is their next election. That's all they're focused on. They don't know that you exist. So save yourself. Now, then for us, what does it mean for us as a people? It means that if we must solve the Nigerian problem, and it's the same thing for many African countries, because this is clearly a forced marriage. It's clearly a forced marriage. We didn't know. Even the amalgamation, Nigerians did not know. They did it in Europe. People only read it in the newspapers, 1914. And they cobbled people together who didn't want to be together. And then divided us psychologically, then created all these artificial states. That wasn't how we existed. We in 1900, 1800s, and we didn't exist as states. There was not like Benue State in 1914, in 1920, even in 1960. There wasn't like Imo State. There was nothing like Ondo State. There was not all those things. They just created those things to create problems. Soji says, true, sir. You experienced that in secondary school. When I was in boarding school, government paid for the people from the north. Yeah. Same country, pay for the people. Yeah, in the north. Exactly. They paid for them. Pay for people from the north. I'm trying to read the rest of your comment. It's saying Seymour. I can't see it. But yeah, you're correct. Yeah, pay for the people for the north only. Yeah, they paid for them. They paid for them. And you call it one country. And you sing, to build a nation where peace and justice shall. It's nonsense. You know, you don't build a country like that. You know? So now, if we must change this country and many other African countries, because we're in the same bind, the colonists knew what they did. They knew that there was no way that the Fulani man and the Igbo man will agree. No way. They knew that there was no way the Ijaw man and maybe Ogoni man can agree. No way. They put everybody together. So while we are fighting, they are busy stealing our resources, and then we're busy killing ourselves. And then they will come and give us guns. Because now what they are trying to do is to instigate war in the country. And then they will sell us guns, which we will use to kill each other. And then as we are killing each other, they are flying our gold, our uranium, our oil away. So if we must deal with the problem, that's why we keep on. I'm a part of an organization called NINAS. Okay? Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities. Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities. I have to find that for you. Okay, we'll just call it NINAS. So for so long that sometimes you forget what the NINAS spell out for. But it's indigenous nationalities of Nigeria coming together, you know, for self-determination. Coming together in Nigeria is our structure. It's our structure. Chinweze says, do you think it will ever be possible for Nigeria to achieve unity in this country again? It is possible. It is possible. And the only way it's going to be possible is for us to revisit our roots. We've got to solve the problem from the roots, from the structure. We've got to come together, all the indigenous nationalities, not politicians, and say, okay, if we are going to stay together as a country, this is the charter of relationships. You can't come with your cows, to my whatever, and then cut my cows. We have to define those things. Then when we define it, then there's peace. But right now, it's not defined. So people just do anything. So that 1999 constitution is it's a big problem. It's the biggest problem. And so we have to deal with it. But for now, I want to leave you with these words for your weekend. You have a limited time on this earth. Mind your business. When you die and you face the divine, you face the king of all kings, and you face the God of the universe, I can guarantee you that he will never ask you questions about Nigeria. I can guarantee you, when you are dying, you're going to die alone. Nigeria is not going to die with you. And when you die, you kill yourself for nothing. Like the people who are protesting in Abuja, doing all kinds of things, and then they shoot you. Well, once you do, you are dying alone, and Nigeria will continue. Mind your business. Find out what your purpose on earth is. Face it and do it. Then let every other thing, political activism and all that, let it be jara. Because there will always be evil men. And it's not today that the sort of things happening in Nigeria are happening. It's been happening. It's happened before. This is not the first time in history. There's history of oppression. There's history of colonialism. There's history of all kinds of things, of wickedness. But at the end of it, what matters is, have you fulfilled your purpose? Because it is only in fulfilling your purpose that you are joyful. Yeah, all these things are happening, but I have an inner joy, an inner peace, because I'm engaging with my purpose. And why all these, wicked things are going on in the country, I'm impacting lives around the world. I'm touching lives around the world. And so when I'm dying, I'm going to die with satisfaction, Nigeria or no Nigeria. There's your great-grandfather didn't, my grandfather didn't know a place called Nigeria. They just told him, somebody just woke up one day and then said, okay, now you are in a country called Nigeria. So it doesn't exist. It's just a mental construct, a political construct, like Awolowo says. That is just a mere geographical expression. Don't die for nothing. Find your purpose. And it's actually in fulfilling your purpose that we can build a nation. Because if each of us is minding our business, minding our values, fulfilling our purposes, we can build a nation. And then, when we become a mighty force of people of purpose, we can change this country. We can change it. Whatever happens, I love you. I love you all. You have a wonderful weekend. Mind your business. Go there, prosper. And then if you haven't enrolled in the Financial Fitness Challenge, you'd better do so right now. Just DM me for the payment details. It's 125,000. But there's early bird right now of 105,000. So get in today. Get in today. You need to mind your business. You need to be financially strong for yourself and for your family. Should anything happen, like it most certainly will happen, you are going to be trapped. If you don't have money, you're going to be trapped. That's why during the Financial Fitness Challenge, you also learn how to hedge and how to earn in dollars. So you can have something. So that even if you escape, something happens and then you escape with only the cloth on your back. You have a card that's got dollars that you can use to set up wherever you are. These are the sort of things that we discussed during the Financial Fitness Challenge. So I hope to see you there. And whatever happens, keep showing up. Because you have no idea what's coming your way next. I'll talk to you soon.